You fucking kidding me, Hannah?
What is wrong with you?
Do not play dumb with me. I don't even know where to fucking begin with you.
Okay, it seems I woke the beast again.
This is not a joke. Showing your vagina to your boss is not an okay thing to do.
It wasn't sexual, Fran. It was so I would get out of trouble.
To get out of trouble. We are not 5, Hannah. Jesus Christ.
Listen, okay? It worked.
Do you really not get it? Are you that broken? Like, how damaged is your thought process? As an adult, you should know. Taking your genitals out and
Stop, okay? Literally stop. I didn't do anything that bad. I'm not like Bill Cosby or something.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Girls. We're just two boys watching HBO's Girls. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're talking about episode 49. We're in season 5. This is episode 7. It is titled Hello Kitty. It is directed by Richard Shepard and written by Sarah Hayward. The original air date was April 3rd, 2016 to an audience of 558,000 people, 0.558 million. How are you feeling about this one, Vance?
Well, we definitely predicted the title wrong. I thought
100%.
I thought it would have something to do with Shoshana, with Hello Kitty. I did not realize it would be an homage to Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone to open this.
Dude, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know who could have predicted that.
Yeah. If you're a younger listener and don't know the movie or the actor Sharon Stone or the movie Basic Instinct, it's pretty popular for a scene that Hannah does in the principal's office. And the situation is a lot different in that one, though.
Oh yeah. I've never seen Basic Instinct, but I just absolutely know that it's a different situation.
Yeah.
And I do know, I feel like that's a lot of young boys' first exposure to a vagina. Maybe not anymore because iPads and the internet's everywhere. But I remember when I was a kid, like everyone was like Basic Instinct, Basic Instinct. It's this infamous vagina flashing scene.
Yeah.
And we get right into it with Hannah. This episode starts off with her. I think that we don't really need to do a character breakdown here. We can just kind of go with the flow of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, Elijah's separate. I feel like he's the only one that's separate, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to start out with him and then go into the story, but let's just do the Hannah. Let's not even bury the lead with Hannah. Let's just go right into this.
I mean, this episode starts off with Hannah getting reprimanded by the principal, which we all knew was going to happen one day.
Yeah.
We were like, how does this not happen yet?
Yeah.
But he's yelling at her, basically being like, yeah, you know, it's not the kids that are annoyed at you, it's the other teachers. And Hannah's like, what? Why? And the principal is basically like, because you've been talking shit about all of them to the students. And she's like, well, what are you talking about? And then he has quotes from the students. I didn't write down the quotes. I'm pretty certain that you did, though.
I didn't write down all of them, but I did write down Phantom Centaur butt. Like when the guy's butt pokes out and it looks like like a horse got lopped off.
She said that some other teacher is definitely banging some other teacher, and she's like, and I know because I'm banging Fran.
Yeah. And then she just hates this teacher named Dorfler. Said it's like Matilda in her classroom.
She's like, you said that you straight up hate this person. She's like, well, am I even wrong on that one? That person is the worst. Come on, principal.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, it's so crazy that she just never sees the error of her ways ever.
And it's not, the thing I find interesting is that there's not a gray area. Like, she's wrong.
No.
There's no other way around it.
It's completely unprofessional.
Yeah. Like, yeah. And we'll go on, but at one point in this scene, he says, oh, we all like you. And I'm like, who likes her? It seems like no one likes her. All the teachers are, it's like no student is complaining. The teachers are complaining. And like, that's a problem.
Yeah. The principal says something about how, like, you know, I've been lenient with you because to be frank, you're very well liked here. And it's like, you just said that all the teachers hate her.
Yeah. Like, who likes her?
I guess it's just the students and maybe the principal.
I mean, I'm sure that one student doesn't like her after getting her tongue pierced and being called a crazy bitch in the hallway.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, the principal's like, I've been lenient with you so far, but this is a lot more serious, and there needs to be something. There needs to be some kind of action taken. And then Hannah looks down at her own crotch, and she's like, "You're right. This is very serious." Uncrosses her legs to reveal that she's not wearing any panties underneath, and is sitting man-spread through, like, on the chair and being like, "Is there any way that we can work this out?" And I was like, what the fuck kind of porno is this?
And he is stunned. He has no idea what to do. Like, yeah. I mean, it's insane. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of that earlier season where she tried to, like...
Oh, when she tried to bang her lawyer boss or whatever?
Yeah, when she tried to hook up with him and then he turned her down and then she threatened to... Like, it's some shady stuff, man.
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, so here's a fun little side note. So if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know now that I watch the show with closed captions on. So when she initially uncrossed her legs, I didn't see anything that was going on because the closed captions were blocking everything.
And you also watch it in SD, so now you really don't. Now I bet you wish you splurged for that HD, don't you?
So I literally wrote down she flashes her panties because all I saw was brown down there and closed captions. So I rewound and I was like, wait, was that her? Because I saw the next scene where she's explaining like, women should flash their vaginas more often because men don't know how to handle it. Yeah. And I was like, did she flash her vagina? And then I rewound it, took the closed captions off, watched it, and I was like, oh, that's just a bush. That's not brown panties. Then I paused it again, put the closed captions back on.
Paused again, went to Amazon, put in your credit card number, ordered the HD, the Ultra HD version. Got the HD version
so I could really, really inspect what was going on in that Lena Dunham basement.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really see, it's like the same as the Basic Instinct. You don't like, it's not...
Yeah, you don't see actual...
Like, yeah, it's more bush and just the situation. Like, at that point, she's propositioning him to get out of trouble. It's not like he's weirded out because I'm breastfeeding a kid or something. Like, it's sexually implicit that is a trade-off.
Yes. And so she's bragging to Fran about it in the next scene, being like, I don't know why women don't do this more often. We could stop wars with our vaginas. And Fran is like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
That to me was the craziest follow-up to that opening scene. I was like, oh, well, they're going to talk about how she's not a teacher anymore. And
yes, that's what I was thinking.
Not that it worked and she has no shame in it, that she's telling Fran this in accurate detail.
Yes, I was like stunned, number one, that it worked, and that she would tell Fran, like bragging about it, being like, yeah, dude, I showed the principal my vagina. Isn't that dope? And Fran's just like, are you fucking... Listen to yourself. Yeah. Listen to yourself. What you just did is abhorrent. It's so fucked up. Oh, and she's like, are you really going to be like this with me right now, Fran?
I just did it to get out of trouble. And he's like, that is... the reason.
Yeah, he's like, get out of trouble. You sound like a child. We're adults.
Yeah. And I mean, this scene also does a thing that I don't like really, where now Fran's character is kind of angry and violent, ill-tempered. Like he has a hot temper all of a sudden. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, the shit that he's getting steamed up about, you should get steamed up about. No,
but he gets steamed up about, don't interrupt me and don't roll your eyes. Like, now it's like specific, like, don't be yourself things that you can kind of like now side with Hannah on, which...
See, you're supposed to side with Hannah on that, but she had just did something so awful that it's like, this is supposed to make me hate Fran now. And it kind of does. He's talking to her like a child, like one of his students.
Like him being mad about what she did is justified, but then his reaction to the other stuff afterwards makes him seem petulant, you know? Which I understand they're doing it to like balance it out, but I just don't. When I think about the episode as a whole, I don't get why. I don't get why this happened in the beginning for the ending payoff that we're getting that has nothing to do with it, really. You know what I mean? Like when it goes full circle, I'm like, if that didn't happen in the beginning and shaded my opinion, you know, or view of like Hannah's character, I would be like, oh man, because she does some great acting at the end, and it's a really powerful moment at the end. But like that beginning soured me on feeling the full level of empathy that I could.
Yeah, and like how did that work? How does she still have a job? Like what is she, and also why? So throughout this episode, Fran is like, let's just talk about this. Like no, you talk about it now and you dump her. Like this is obviously not working out.
That is, I would say that is breakup material.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah. There's no, okay. Like what were you waiting for? What is the straw that's going to break it if that's not it? Flashing. Yeah. Not just, he's your boss too.
Yes.
Like, how are you going to school? How are you going back to school knowing that?
Yeah. Like, and Fran makes a point of like, I would prefer if I was the only person that saw your vagina since we're dating. And then Hannah's like, oh, so you're the only person that gets to see my vagina now just because we're dating? Well, guess what, Fran? It's the summer suit and my vagina is going to be out. It's like, what are you fucking talking about?
What was that impression?
That was just Hannah being an asshole.
Okay.
That's all that was, Vance.
Okay. Yeah, and then there's also a Bill Cosby reference. She's like, I'm not Bill Cosby in this. And dude. I'm like, and it just reminds you of how recent this episode is.
Yeah, well, it also reminded me, I was like, wow, this is recent, but also Bill Cosby's thing. This came out in 2016. It aired April 2016. So the Bill Cosby thing happened, like, had to have happened like way before that. And I was like, wow, this Bill Cosby shit has been going on for almost, 5 years now.
Yeah. And
I was like, I didn't realize it's been that long since that story broke.
Yeah. Like,
time flies when you're having fun,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, man.
So I think that was basically the, gist of the opening scene. And that kind of lays the groundwork for what's going to happen with Hannah. But I feel like now we're going to jump over to Elijah to confuse everyone.
Okay. Yeah. We got him riding on this train. We got him riding on the Hannah train. Being like, I can't wait to see where this goes. And now.
Yeah. We're going to leave him in suspense for a good 15, 20 minutes.
That's exactly how Elijah does it too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Elijah shows up like halfway through this episode and has his own little arc.
He's in the thumbnail that I saw, like the picture of him at the party. So I was like, oh, he's in this. But I'm like, when is he showing up? Because this episode
also we thought that this episode was going to be about Shoshana because of Hello Kitty.
Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning.
Every character in this show is in this except Shoshana.
I know. I was like, is she just not gonna, like, how many episodes has she been in this season? Like 3, 4?
I don't know. Maybe she's
at the wedding. She's at the wedding. There's like two Japan episodes, right? I think she's just in 3.
I'm not sure. I have to go back and look, but it's not a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Elijah is hanging with Dill Harcourt at a party that is hosted by Dill Harcourt, and it's a bunch of fancy pants, super rich people looks like, in a penthouse, and everything is opulent and in his palatial penthouse, and they seem very happy together. Dill is very happy with Elijah, and he's talking to Elijah, being like, my world is so different because one minute I'm talking about bombs going off in Afghanistan, and then the next I'm hanging with good people and hanging out with my friends, and it's awesome. And it's hard to differentiate that and blah blah blah. And it's like, and it just makes me realize what's important in life, and it is being with people that are awesome, and I'm happy that you're here with me or whatever.
Yeah, it's like being the person that's with you, and
yeah.
Elijah
And
has
Elijah is like,
Elijah. Yeah, there's a lot of Elijah puppy dog like looks in this, but Elijah has my favorite, like two of my favorite lines in this like first scene. One, they're talking to like these two guys, and one has like a mesh see-through shirt on or whatever.
Yeah,
and he's like, my friend has that shirt. She doesn't pull it off as well though. Talking about like Hannah when they went to the club or something. Like when she was in mesh.
I remember.
And
she was in that neon green mesh thing, and then they went to Yorma Tacone's place afterwards.
Yeah, and
they were all hopped up on drugs.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Your friends are so like nice and rich, and mine are so mean and poor." Like,
yeah,
which is so perfect.
I wrote down though, while Dill is giving this monologue to Elijah about how important it is to have good people in your life, I literally wrote down, Dill's being very suspicious.
Yeah. Also, if you're a public figure like he is, you don't just have a bunch of rando kind of people rolling through like this. Like, it seems like not everybody knows everybody. Like, everyone's connected, but it's still shady enough that you're not like hooking up out in, like, you're making out with Elijah, like in front of everyone. Is Elijah the only one that doesn't know that you hook up with everybody?
Yeah, and also if other people see that, like, do they get jealous of Elijah?
Yeah.
Because basically what is revealed is that Dill is a fuckboy. And he's got like a bunch of, guys that he hooks up with, it seems like. And
Dill's a player, you know. He talks about the news, that Anderson Cooper Playboy lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, and how Elijah figures it out is he's waiting to get Dill a refill of his drink, and then some other guy is there talking to him, and Elijah's basically talking about how Dill makes him feel so special, and then that other guy's like, yeah, he does that with everybody, He's flew my friend out for a weekend in the Bahamas a little while ago, and he took my other buddy to a black tie event, and he got him a custom tuxedo last week. And he's got a guy named Shane that he keeps in his basement that he has sex with whenever Shane wants. And apparently it's a lot. And you just see Elijah's face realizing everything. Yeah. And it's his, if Dill makes everybody feel special, then it's the classic Incredibles line. If everybody's special, then no one is.
Yeah. Didn't expect you to go there with that, but yeah. This scene, the guy is just spilling the tea so aggressively. Like it's not a subtle like he just let something leak, by accident.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Oh yeah, I thought he went to a party with I got you confused with the guy he went to the party with like last week or something like that. Instead he's like, oh no, he dated this guy and he's banging this dude. And he always does that. And like, oh, you want a chart? I have the schedule of who he's hooking up with. Like, like the guy has so much information.
Yeah, dude. And you just see poor Elijah's world shatter.
And I'm just like, why would this guy invite Elijah to this if, like, is that, I mean, it might just be a power play being like, because later they talk about like, oh, they're all here just because you're famous or whatever, or celebrity. And maybe it's a power play to be like, I could do this and you're still going to stick around,
Yeah.
But
dude, Dill Harcourt's, I gotta say this, Dill Harcourt's voice is fucking amazing. I could listen to that guy talk for forever. That guy has such a beautiful voice, man.
He's a good actor too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've only ever seen him in this and Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man's probably not the best display of his, just playing like that villain in that.
Yeah, I think he's better in this. Like he's like a fucking fuck boy, and I love it.
This will sound weird, but I feel like this show would do better if it had more like I know the season that had more episodes is probably our least favorite season. Or maybe not, maybe that's like our middle season, but it feels like they're having a rush through stuff. Like all this episode, everyone seems like they're about to break up, Like,
Yeah.
it just seems like we're trying to.
As I was watching it, I was like, what was Dill's over under? I think it was 3.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And did we both take the under on that?
Are we counting? Yeah, we took the under. So this is 3. I feel like so he definitely is going to make it to another one. But
yeah,
it just seems like I don't know enough about Dill for him to have this turn fully yet. Like, I don't know if you have more time to spend with him, but.
Yeah. So Elijah takes a moment to himself in the bathroom and he's kind of like readjusting and regrouping, being like, oh my God, I just didn't know that all this stuff was happening behind my back. Then Dill comes in and he's like, hey, there you are. I was looking for you. What's going on? And Elijah confronts him about it and being like, hey, so like, what are we doing? And then Dill Harcourt silver tongues his way around an answer like a master, dude.
I wouldn't even say it was like it was one of those ones where it was like he didn't provide any comfort or like excuses or like reassurances. He was just like, yeah, this stuff. Yep. Yeah. You good? You feel good? Good talk.
Yeah. He really like weaseled his way out of a direct answer because Elijah was kind of like stunned still. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, look, you know, I have a lot of very powerful friends and I have a lot of friends that I take to a lot of places and a lot of them are out there at that party right now. And the only person that's not having a good time is you. So, and you're the only one keeping me from having that good time right now. So if you want to keep having a bad time, maybe you should leave. And, but if you want to keep having a good time, you should come out there and have a good time with me. And it's just like, wow, the level of fuckboy was so amazing.
Well,
chef's kiss.
He like threatened, like that was the best way to threaten. Like that had the subtlety of a threat, unlike the guy who's just telling him who's been hooking up with. Like he's just like, oh yeah, I mean, if you're down, stay. You know, if not, you should probably go. And like he just is playing him like I have all the power right now. And I think Elijah's decision to actually leave is what probably got under Dill's skin. Yeah, because like no one leaves normally, you know? Yeah. Like he just did a power play. And Elijah,
it's to Elijah's point of like a lot of these people are here because you're famous. So he thinks like, yeah, you're probably right. And I am famous. And that's why you're not going to leave. And then Elijah, as soon as Dill leaves, he's like, I don't feel fucking good. And he steals a bunch of his soap. And he's like, I'm leaving, which I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
And Elijah, let's just say, Elijah's looking good in that suit. Like the hair's fit shape. Like he's like the prettiest dude. Like,
dude, yeah. I mean, they say that like he looks like one of Ralph Lauren's adopted sons or whatever. Yeah. That's the lie that he's going with. Yeah. But yeah, earlier in the season he had a beard and he was looking kind of rough. But he shaved. His hair's on point. He looks good.
He looks crisp.
Yeah, dude. So he jacks a bunch of fucking soap from Dill's apartment, goes home, and then we see Hannah's apartment, a loud banging on the door, and it's Dill, wasted, being like, Elijah! Elijah! And then Elijah comes out in his little tidy blackies.
Trademark.
Yeah. He's like, what do you want, Dill? And he's like, I miss you. You didn't say goodbye. And then he starts like kissing all over Elijah. And Elijah's like, ugh, come on, man. And then Dill's like, let's just go lay down for a little bit. Total fuckboy move, loving it. And then Elijah's like, okay. And then they start making out. And then he's about to go down on Elijah. And Elijah's kind of like, he's having mixed emotions about it because he knows that he's not the only one, it seems like. But he also still likes Dill. And so Dill starts to like go down on him and he passes out before he starts to go down on him.
Yeah, I thought something darker was going to happen here.
Me too.
Because when Dill's coming in, before he goes into the bedroom, like he looks around the apartment, you know? Like he's like looking up, like checking to see if there's cameras or someone's there. Like it's a little moment right before he goes into the bedroom where he's doing like he's pretending to be drunk and like doing like a little surveillance type thing. And then secondly, when he got into the bedroom, I thought it was going to turn super rapey because there's a moment when Elijah's like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
And
I'm
like,
I was worried about that too, especially because Dill was being so menacing earlier. Like when he gave that speech at the beginning, when he's giving the speech in the bathroom, it's like vaguely hinted at threatening, but it's a threat, but there's not an actual threat. It's an implied threat. And then when he comes in drunk, it's like we haven't seen Dill drunk.
Yeah.
So we don't know what he's capable of.
But he had the threat on that first date, you know? He's like, I know powerful people. And he's like, are you threatening me, Dill? You know, like we had that. And then we also had their sex scene that was like very awkward and like aggressive.
Yeah.
And like aggressive, but playful, but because they laughed at the end, but like if it wasn't funny. So and
it was very strange.
Yeah. And this show isn't something that shies away from an aggressive sex scene. So I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Elijah.
Luckily Dill just passes out on Elijah's dick. So dodged a bullet on that one.
But for me, what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like what was the point of all of this?
This is the point, is I think that it means that Elijah has a lot to think about. Because Dill didn't give him any reassurances. He shows up drunk and then he passes out. And then Elijah's looking like he's like, what am I doing? I shouldn't be doing this. I thought that I was the only one.
But isn't that the thought you got when he just stole stuff and left the bathroom? Like if we didn't see another scene, wouldn't you be like, oh, he just bounced on Dill? Like if he comes over now, I'm like, oh, I don't think this puts them back together. Like I don't know what the scene itself added to the whole narrative there.
Yeah, I guess you could, if you were looking at it. But here's the thing, is I think it's like when Elijah steals the soap and leaves, I would take that as like it's over. He's not going to see Dill anymore. And then when Dill comes back, it's like, oh, he still has feelings for Dill, and he would let Dill back into his life if Dill like made promises or whatever. But Dill doesn't, and he's wasted. So now he's got a lot to think about. That's how I took it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like having that just lets you know it's not over. But with Dill, like they're still
he's going to make the over.
Yeah.
If for those of you betting on the over on this show that ended, that people know exactly what happens.
Those high stakes boys watching girls betters. Just like those degenerate gamblers. I'm gambling on a podcast.
They'll bet on anything. Bet on.
I'll take those odds.
The bet on the number 6 TV review podcast in India. We're still holding on strong to that number 6 spot.
Yeah,
in India.
I don't know who's downloading.
We're crushing it.
Yeah.
But that's where it ends for Elijah and Dill. Where do you think this is going to go?
Yeah, I really don't know. I still think Dill is probably going to try to frame him for something or do something shady. Like a guy like, because they reference like Bill Cosby in this already in this episode. And then you have Dill, who's kind of hinted towards having a whole team of people that calm stories down before they get out.
Make people go away.
And he's also in the news. You know, he's like the newsmaker. So yeah, he could just leak a story about him or threaten to leak a story about Elijah and just say, hey, you leave me alone or you do what I say or else I'm going to leak this thing about you. Like he could have people just look into his background easily. You
know how we talked about like the season endings, you know, there was a wedding, there was breakups and all that shit. What if Elijah gets murdered? What if he kills him? That's the season ender. Then we got to open season 6 with an Elijah funeral.
I would love if season 6 was just a murder mystery with the girls having a team up to find out who killed Elijah.
To get to the bottom of it, and like Dill Harcourt, it's like a Death Note thing, but like it's Hannah is L and Dill is Light.
There's that show that was on like TBS with Alia Shawkat from Arrested Development where they're like in high school and one of their friends goes missing.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard good stuff about it.
Yeah, I think it's called, is it just called Missing?
No.
It's something simple. It's like a one-word thing.
I think Showalter, Michael Showalter like produces or directs that or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that show is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe Elijah gets murdered. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just breaks up with Dill.
Are you ready? Are you ready to go with that prediction? Are you going to put it on?
Yeah, why the fuck not?
We got some gamblers.
Marnie's got HIV. Yeah. Elijah's going to get murdered.
Okay.
The show is going to go so dark.
The bookies are open for business right now.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, go back to Hannah, Jessa, Marnie story, and I think that we can just kind of loop all that in.
Let's go for it.
And
yeah.
Go with the flow. So where we left Hannah and Fran off, they were pissed off at each other because Hannah showed the principal her vagina. And we go over to a scene where Adam and Jessa are smoking before a play that Adam is in. And she's like, are you worried about anything? You nervous? You need to practice anything? And Adam's like, no, I don't. And Jessa's like, don't question that impression.
I'm not saying anything.
And Jess is like, well, are you nervous? And he's like, no, I'm not nervous. I know everything. And she's kind of like, well, I know that you're not nervous about the play, but like this is tonight, everybody's showing up to the play. Like Hannah's going to be there and she's probably going to, we're going to be together and this is where everybody's going to be. And it's just going to be nervous times. And then Adam's like, well, I wasn't fucking thinking. Like every time that Adam has a play, somebody brings up some traumatic shit for him to freak out over.
I wrote that down in my notes. I'm like, why do they bring this stuff up right when he's about to go and perform? Like he's about to go and perform and they bring this up. And I'm just like, hey, you know what? Talk about it a couple days before. If you thought about that, it's not like he just woke up the next day and was like, oh, I'm in a play tomorrow and I'm inviting everybody. Also, why is everyone coming to this thing? Yeah. Why is everyone coming to this thing? And I'm going to skip ahead. I'm going to skip ahead because it's just on my mind right now. Fran, why would you ever go to an Adam art show again?
Yes.
After the first date that you went on with Hannah.
Yes.
I was just like, what are you, like, you have a terrible track record of Hannah, her ex-boyfriend, art shows. Don't go. Like, don't go. Dude.
It's not smart. Fran is like fucking Sideshow Bob walking onto the rakes, just getting smacked in the face every fucking time. Every step he takes, slam in the face.
And I gave him a lot of credit for being the one person in the show that could walk away from stuff. And this episode solidified his inability to do so.
Yeah, and also Joe's fashion corner real quick. He's wearing like a maroon shirt and green pants. Like, what the fuck is up with you, dude? What is up?
He's got that preppy, like not fully preppy, but kind of half prep teacher.
Well,
look, it's like,
I know that he was on the last season of The Office or something, and he was supposed to be like the new Jim, which I can totally see.
Yeah,
because he dresses like Jim from The Office, and but like, dude, this. Yeah, I mean, coming up next, Fran is like, yeah, we're going to see a play, blah blah blah. And I wouldn't want to talk about our issues right now because you always make a big scene about everything. And I'm like, why are you there?
It was like, why are you shocked? Why are you shocked by this person that you met, knew that she made big scenes, and you didn't want to be with her because of that? We did a 6-month fast forward at the end of a season. And then all of a sudden, like, you forgot that this is what she is. Like, that's who she is.
I wrote down the quote, oh, Hannah wants to do something rude, destructive, and inappropriate. What a twist.
And I'm like,
that's what Fran says to her. It's like, yeah, what a twist. You know this? You knew this from date one.
Yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, what is your deal, Fran? Like, like you have said everything about her perfectly.
Yeah. And hey, guess what, Fran? Also, you can do better. I've seen the nudes you had.
I mean,
like, why would you stay with this woman?
And I wonder if it's ever going to come up that she had this lesbian encounter experience at the retreat thing. Like, she cheated she's openly cheated on Fran.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be more upset about her flashing the principal at my job than I would be about that. Just out of like logistical, like just out of like the moral standing of what she did at school. Like, also she's doing that at school too.
Yeah. The here's what makes the school thing worse is because Fran could and probably will find out about it. Like the retreat thing is something that he couldn't find out about. But number one, he could find out about even if Hannah didn't tell him. And then Hannah brags about the flash of a vagina to the principal, to Fran immediately afterwards. It's like, what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah, for me, it's not worse because Fran could find out. It's worse because of the implication of sexually trapping your boss.
Yeah,
for a favor.
Well, like, what if Fran gets in trouble? Like, who knows what the fuck's gonna happen?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like that's such a morally reprehensible thing to do. Especially because this guy has been nothing but nice to her. And now you put him in an impossible situation. Impossible.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. But they're at the play, and Fran is upset that Hannah is pissed off at him. I don't know. She doesn't get why he's pissed, and they're just having a fight.
Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Like, if she was just, like, upset about something else and it wasn't that beginning scene, like, I could be like, okay, I get it. They've been having issues. He's kind of a douche. She's like got her thing, but he knows she has her issues, you know? But because he's mad about that specific thing, it's hard to not be
side with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Hannah is basically like, the play is starting. They're explaining what it is. And the play is this experimental walk through an entire apartment complex where the play is taking place. It's basically like Sleep No More kind of thing, where you're walking through different rooms and watching different scenes play out based on the murder of this one woman.
Yeah, it's called 38 Neighbors. So you're in like a tenement building in New York in whatever year it is.
Honestly, seems like a pretty cool concept, something I would probably want to go to, because I went to Sleep No More, and Sleep No More was pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to Sleep No More?
No, I never went to Sleep No More.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I don't understand, again, why they are going to these things, because they don't seem to like him.
Yes.
At all. And Hannah's being so rude during it.
Yes. Yeah, like during the beginning of the play, Hannah's like, well, I want to talk about this, Fran. I can't really get into the spirit of this play if I'm not being recognized. Like, all of these other people didn't recognize the murder. And Fran's like, not now. Let's just do this play. We'll talk about it later. And Hannah is like, I don't think this is working out, Fran. So she basically breaks up with him. Then Ray whisks her away.
No, she whisked Ray away. Like, she grabs him. I didn't even know who was there.
Yeah, me neither. But everybody's there, Vance.
She just pulled her hand out of nowhere and just grabbed Ray. And he's like, oh, we're not going with him.
Yeah, I couldn't. I think I was writing down something, but I looked up, and then the next thing I knew that she was with Ray and walking away. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, all right, I guess.
So anyway, Hannah's walking through the play, and she's talking very loudly during it, and like the actors are just sitting there listening to her.
And I just feel so bad for these people. Like, why are you here if you're just gonna be? Just go.
Just step out into the hall.
Yeah.
Whisper.
Yeah.
And even Ray calls her out about it, because he's like, would you have some fucking respect? These people are trying to act, you know? And then they start acting, and it's exactly the douche level that you would expect an experimental play to be.
Well, I did like when the girls start talking, because it was like perfect timing to let everyone get comfortable and like argumentative with like Hannah.
Yeah.
And then they just started their scene. I like kind of love that. And then the girl starts doing this, putting on this music. What year is it supposed to be? Like 70s or 60s or 70s? She puts on
I think it's the 60s.
Yeah, she puts on some music, and she's doing like some crazy dancing.
She's doing the dances that they would do back then, but she's doing it so violently that it just doesn't look right.
It's so like stilted, but like so. It's one of those things you would like stare at. Like, you couldn't look away from it, you know, because it's so strange.
She looks like a robot that's malfunctioning. She's glitching out, dude.
And I love that Hannah said, you know what? You might be the best dancer or something at the end of that scene. Like, you're a really good dancer.
But before that scene ends, Marnie comes waltzing in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Marnie is just even worse than Hannah. She's like, what? Like she's talking full volume. Ray's like, what are you doing? And she's like, what are you talking about? All those actors are doing that, just sitting around and doing like just making fun of that crowd. I'm like, why are you here?
She comes in and she literally is like, they're not doing anything anyway. The last room I was in, the guy was just rolling a cigarette. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like
these people have dated actors that have been on Broadway. Like she has been married to an actor on Broadway. Like no respect. Like Adam is one of these people.
Yeah. So she's like, hey, Ray, we need to talk in the hallway. I got something to tell you. And Ray's like, me? She's like, yeah, I got it. Come on. So she and Ray leave. Then Hannah says the line about, you might be the best dancer I've ever seen. Then Marnie pulls Ray into the hallway to tell him that she left Desi. And Ray's like, oh, okay. All right. Interesting. What made you realize that this is the thing? And she's like, oh, it's basically just been a bunch of really tiny, shitty little things that added up. And I knew that we were going to get divorced before we even got married, but I was scared to say no and blah, blah, blah. And Ray's like, yeah, well, that sucks. And she's like, and it just makes me realize like what is important, and what I need in my life right now. And Ray's like, is it me? Is it old Ray boy? And she goes, I really just need, the reason why I wanted to tell you is because, you're very important to me and I just need to be alone. And Ray's like, cool. Yeah. Sorry that you're going through that. Yeah, be alone. Yeah, that's a great plan. I'm going to go back into this play though. See ya.
Yeah. I thought it was weird.
All of the air taken out of Ray's hope.
Well, I thought his acting in the scene was weird because I wasn't getting the read that if she said, I want to be with you, that he was going to just jump on it. It felt like if she said that, he was going to be like, I don't know.
I think that he was hopeful that she was going to say it, but yeah.
I mean, you definitely want to be in a position to say no rather than the other one. You know what I mean? Like so you want to be offered the job to say no. Like you don't want to. You don't want to not get the job that you don't want. You want to be offered it and then say no. I can do better. You know what I mean? Like Shoshana doesn't want to go
be
on
invited
that job
to the
interview.
party.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go on that job interview and not get the job. She just wants to turn it down and know that she can get it.
I think that if she would have said that she was like, I think that we should be together. I need to be with you. He would have been like, he would have let it simmer for a little bit.
He would have played it cool and been like, you need to have some time for yourself, but knowing that like he'll be right there. And knowing that Marnie will not take time for herself because she's Marnie.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what goes on there.
Well, we forgot to mention this. She grabs his hands. Like they're holding hands too. Like she's holding it like she's gonna like propose to him almost. Like it's very endearing in a way. So like it really just sets him up for that failure, for that letdown.
Oh yeah. All hope dashed to our favorite character, Ray.
But he doesn't seem to we don't really get a reaction from him other than this scene,
Yeah, I think that his reaction was like, let's just go back to this play because he knows that he doesn't want to overreact because he overreacts to shit. I feel like if we would have stayed with Ray, he would have had some little miniature freak out on somebody else.
Yeah, it was two things I also wanted from this scene. I wanted her to say, because he asked like, how did this breakup with Desi happen? And I wanted her to say, oh, your old friend Charlie. He's a heroin addict, and I ended up sleeping with him.
Dude, I forgot that Charlie and Ray were like besties.
I know. So I was like, okay, that would be interesting. And then I also wanted to see Ray in the room when Desi comes back with the music thing,
Yeah.
He could even have like false hope that they could get back together, but then this like music thing, like I just wanted him to be there for that,
Yeah.
Like the way he was when the announcement of them getting married. He was there at the wedding. He was there for just have him in the room for that. that music.
Yeah, he was there for he was the first person that she told that she got engaged. And then she made a huge announcement that she got engaged at his fucking party.
Yeah.
When are we going to see him doing city council stuff?
That's fine.
That's all done.
It's not much. It's not much.
Is he out already? Yeah, I guess so.
Mark Maron was just making it look hard.
So Hannah's watching Adam do a scene, and this is not Adam's best acting in the show. Like when we see him as an actor, this is his poorest performance, in my opinion. Yeah,
and I was just like, all right. And I thought it was interesting that Hannah was watching it and then just walks away. But I mean, it's to set up the other situation.
Well, I thought it was funny because this is what happened is, so she's watching it, and then two other people come into the scene, and they're like, can I just take one of those cigarettes? And the girl that he's talking to is like, yeah, you can take one of those cigarettes. I mean, I was in the room next door, and they had candy, and people were just walking up to the bowl and taking candy. And then after Hannah hears that, she gets up and goes to the next room and grabs candy.
Yeah.
Which is the most Hannah thing ever. I fucking love that choice.
Like, free snacks, man. Free snacks.
You gotta.
Yeah.
Who knows how long this fucking play is going to be, too, you know?
Like, yeah, but it seems like something you also want to do with people and not roam around by yourself, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Like, well, the point of Sleep No More is like, if they see you with somebody, they purposely separate you.
Oh, okay.
So you like actually take in the play and the experience instead of just like walking around with your friends and be like, isn't this so weird? And also in Sleep No More, you're not allowed to talk.
Yeah. It's like how when you go to movies, like someone will sit front right and another person will sit back left so that they can take in the movie. Because it's impossible to do that next to each other. Yeah.
Point taken. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche, Vance.
Eat that, Sleep No More.
So then this is the part of the play where the lady gets murdered and everybody's looking out the window. And Hannah's looking out the window, looking down at the scene of the lady getting murdered. And she sees Jessa across the way. And she sees Jessa looking at Adam. And then she sees Adam acting and smoking a cigarette. She looks back at Jessa. And Jessa's got this like really happy smile on her face looking at Adam. Because, you know, Adam's just so cute. And she's smoking a cigarette, and Hannah keeps going back and forth between those two. And it's like all adding up to her like, oh my fucking God, they're fucking, aren't they?
And I love this scene for how it's done, all visually with the music playing underneath. And like you have the screams of the murder happening.
Yeah.
And then you have like, and it's very, I wouldn't be shocked if this is Rear Window that they're taking this from. Or just like this Hitchcock film. And I mean, it doesn't have, it's like a guy, he's trapped in his house, but he lives on like a tenement building. He can only stare out of his window and he thinks someone's been murdered out the window. And the way they are set up where they can all see each other, where you can see all your neighbors through the window. And it's just so well done. And I think Lena Dunham does a great job acting this because it's not like she's saying, wait a minute. Are you guys banging? Like, it's all on her face. It's all in the look. And it like slowly seeps in. I think this was like my favorite way for them to have revealed them hooking up.
Yeah, and it was like so subtle. Like they didn't show up and they're not holding hands and they're like, so awkward to see you here. It's like Hannah piecing it together just based off of how Jessa is looking at Adam. And it's like, she's just like, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This is why Jessa was so mean to me. This is why she's looking at him. This is why this is happening. Oh my God. I'm fucking such an idiot.
It's so good.
So then she runs to tell Marnie. And she's like, they're fucking. I know they're fucking. Aren't you? Know they're fucking? Have they been fucking? And then Marnie says my favorite line of this episode, which is, I don't know. I've been too busy yelping divorce lawyers to worry about the sex lives of our second tier friends.
Oh my God. I think I heard that line, but like didn't let it fully sink in. But man, Marnie cold-blooded. Because does that line happen before the line where she says, "Do you think I deserve all the bad things that are happening to me?"
I don't know the order of those specific lines, but Marnie had some gold this time.
Yeah.
Just so harsh about the second tier friends, dude. Like,
and Marnie, yes, everything that's happening to you, you do deserve. Like,
yeah, you definitely do deserve it. You suck.
Yeah, but maybe it'll turn around for you. Like, you're gonna come out the other side of the storm. She's also got some really good news coming immediately.
Yeah, she does. So Hannah and Marnie go into a separate room, and Hannah's like, I just can't believe that they're fucking. I can't believe this. And I should have known, and I feel like they've been doing it behind my back. And then out of nowhere, Desi storms in. And Marnie's like, Desi, what the fuck are you doing here? And I was like, everybody else is here. What the fuck are you doing there? You know, why wouldn't Desi be there?
It's like
Desi's friends with Adam.
It's like you're watching Friends and Joey comes over and you're like, what? What do you mean? Yeah. They're always there.
Yeah. So Desi comes in and he's like, I've got some big fucking news. And she's like, well, what is it? What do you want? And he's like, I got a phone call from Alex Patsavas and they want the track. And Marnie's like, Alex Patsavas? And he's like, Alex Patsavas. Alex Patsavas? The Alex Patsavas? Alex Patsavas. And Hannah's just like, who the fuck is Alex Patsavas? Who gives a shit? And he's like, it's just the woman that fucking put the soundtrack to Grey's Anatomy, The OC, a couple other shows. I forget what they were.
Gossip Girl and Twilight.
Yeah. And they want to use one of our tracks for Grey's Anatomy. And Marnie's like, oh my fucking God, that's awesome. He's like, we got to tell the record label. We're going to get back together. Let's get it all back together. And Marnie's like, you mean the band, right? And Desi's like, yeah, the band.
The band. Yeah.
I don't know how big of a deal it is to be on the Grey's Anatomy soundtrack these days.
Huge deal. Just like having your song on Girls playing underneath the montage. It's huge. Like,
I know that it's a huge payout. I don't know how big it is for exposure, but I do remember because he brings up the OC. The OC's soundtrack was massive.
What you said? Yeah.
What you say?
Yeah.
Ooh, that you will be man.
Like, that's the only reason I know that song. And I never even watched the OC.
Dude, so many bands got big off the OC. Like the Killers got huge off the OC.
I mean, right now it's like being in an Apple commercial is like a huge thing, you know?
Dude, remember when the Apple commercials were huge when it was like the silhouettes of people dancing with the iPod in the ears? Yeah. Those songs were massive too.
Yeah, it's I think it's pretty much still like there's certain things where you get a song in it. If you get a song like they were saying at the end of Grey's Anatomy and a main character dies and it's that montage song. Because I remember working with Sia on a shoot on a music video, like in Central Park, and it was after she had her song on the end of 6 Feet Under, like the finale of 6 Feet Under. I think had like Sia's song playing, and it was like the biggest thing in the world at that time. And I'd never really heard of Sia. Like I was on a music video with her, and I was just like, oh, okay, this person's big.
Oh, that's pretty cute.
Yeah. And now she's like, Sia. I mean, it's Sia. Oh.
Yeah, she's massive.
Yeah.
I read an article from a band that is no longer together, and he said like the most amount of money that they ever made like wasn't from touring or merchandise or whatever. It's they got one of their songs in a commercial, and they were like, that was so fucking huge for us.
Yeah.
So I know that it's big to be in it, but like from what I remember people going out in droves and like buying the OC soundtrack. I don't know how many people do that for Grey's Anatomy, but I'm sure that there are people out there. The Spotify playlists of the Grey's Anatomy shit.
No, but they were saying he was saying they got to go on tour now.
Yeah,
because now their band can tour it because you're like, oh, our song was featured on Grey's Anatomy. That gives you the calling card, you know?
Yeah, dude. Also, Grey's Anatomy has been on for fucking ever. I feel like it gets canceled like every year. I see the list of shows that are ending or canceled, but it still lives on somehow.
Yeah.
Like, has it actually ended?
No, it's still on right now.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And I'm gonna take this moment to shout out a friend of mine. They have the Post Mortem pod. They're going through. I don't know how many episodes they're in, but they're gonna watch every episode of Grey's Anatomy. I'll share a link in the show notes. But the Post Mortem pod, and they have like the three of them hosting, and one of them is in med school, I believe, currently. So like you get like a realistic view of some of the medical school stuff. My friend, she hasn't watched the show, so she's new, and the other two have. So it's like a nice combination of people. So if you're ready to dive into a show like Grey's Anatomy, there's a podcast.
I also want to give a shout out to a podcast that you did a little while ago too. I don't remember the name of the podcast, but Vance wrote a spec script for Grey's Anatomy, and you've never seen Grey's Anatomy before, right?
I've never seen an episode, no.
Vance wrote a spec script for Grey's Anatomy, and he had to pitch it on this show. What's the name of the podcast, Vance?
Terrific Specs Podcast.
That episode of that podcast was so fucking funny. So if you enjoy listening to Vance on this podcast, go listen to that podcast too, because that podcast was so fucking funny, man. I loved listening to that.
That was a lot of fun to do. It's a weird podcast. It's a little improvised, but the script is actually written, and it's yeah. It was a lot of fun to write that script based off of just reading Wikipedia on the show and not ever seen it.
That was so funny because like the premise of that podcast is like Hollywood has gone to hell, and Vance is basically pitching to Satan, like or something like that, dude. It was so good. Yeah. So I recommend that. Right. Something my boy Vance has done. That was so fucking good.
Thank you, sir. I'll put that in the show notes as well, and you can just link and listen and enjoy. Listen to all the podcast glory. Yeah,
man, so good. But anyway, back to this podcast, Boys Watching Girls. So Marnie and Desi are celebrating, and Hannah's just pissed that no one's paying attention to her anymore, and she starts having a hissy fit. Starts like slams her feet up against the wall. She's like, "Rrr." She's literally making like noises like that, like a baby.
I love that shot. Her like, because she's got like red shoes on, and like she just rolls over. Her face is she's horizontal on the bed. Her face is planted down in it, and her feet are up against the wall. And Desi and Marnie are like leaning into each other and singing their song to each other.
Yeah. It's the closed captioning for when they're not actually singing the words is vocalizing guitar riffs.
Yeah.
So this is now the end of the play, and Ray is outside with Hannah, and he's lecturing her about how apathy is the biggest danger to American society, and it's so fucking funny. He's like, I'm going to go read up about this. Yeah. This is really important. This was artistic. This was great. Apathy is what's really fucking the American society over.
Yeah. I loved it.
So Ray.
I could definitely see myself doing that. It's just like, what? You know what? I want to read about that thing. Like diving too deep into it. It's just like the play's not over, you know?
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean,
yeah, no. Yeah. But so then this is when Fran comes out, and Ray's like, hey, you take care of her for the rest of the night. I'll see you, buddy. Yeah. And he gives him a pat on the back and walks away. He's like, I gotta go investigate some stuff.
And at this point, Ray has not reacted to Desi showing up. Nope. He hasn't reacted to Marnie turning him down.
Well, does he even know that Desi had shown up?
Yeah, I have no idea how like he wouldn't, or like logically, but like logistically, but still, like he seems like if we never saw Marnie talk to him in the hallway, like his demeanor did not change at all. Like, yeah, he would normally be like down and out finding that out, you know, but or at least be like upbeat about like that she's at least done with Desi.
Yeah, that's true.
He doesn't even talk.
Hopeful.
He doesn't even talk to Hannah about it. Like, wouldn't he be like, "So is that really happening?" Like he was thirsty hearing her name one time. Now he doesn't even talk about it.
I think he's more concerned with the apathy of the American people, Vance. I mean, you can't blame him.
It's the power of the arts.
So this is where Fran comes back into the fold, and he kind of walks up to Hannah and is like, hey, so now that that's over with, can we enjoy the rest of our night? And this is when Hannah looks over to see Adam walking out of the play with Jessa, and Jessa's like, you did such a good job, and they're walking kind of together, but they're not like together, but Hannah's looking at them because she's like, I fucking know. And she's like, she gives Adam the hey, and he turns around and is like, hey, what's up? She's like, you did a really great job. And then Jessa sees her and she's like, hey. And then Jessa's like, hi. And then Adam and Jessa just turn around and walk away. And then Hannah's world is shattered. And Fran's trying to talk sense into her and being like, oh, so like, are you still upset? Like, are we still together? Like, what's going on? She's like, get the fuck off of me.
Yeah, this is where they just write Fran's character to be super dumb just for convenience sake. Like, he knows that she knows Adam and that she's really good friends with Jessa. Does he not think it's weird that they didn't even come over to talk?
Yep.
Like, that would be weird. Like, the only reason we're at this show is because Adam's in it. Adam just showed up outside and we're not even gonna walk the 3 feet to get in touch.
Yeah.
Like, they're social distancing for no reason at this point.
They're social distancing in 2016.
Yeah. And it just like, he's like, oh, you're so mad about early. I'm like, did you not just witness what just happened? Like,
Yeah.
are you not a person?
Well, also, how dumb are you, dude? She was like, this isn't working out. And he's like, comes out after a play, like, you still mad?
Yeah.
Like, can we enjoy the rest of our night?
Like, what? And I do love the awkwardness of Jessa and Adam walking away, and the way that they walk away. It's kind of Adam's walk reminded me of when he went to Staten Island and walked away from Ray.
Yeah.
And it just like turns, it just starts sauntering away, and the way Jessa looks like she wants to turn back, and like that she might say something, but then she doesn't.
Thought, I was like, they kept getting closer and closer together too, so I thought it was going to end with them holding hands and just really put the dagger into Hannah. But they never really touched.
That walk away was enough. The fact they were walking away together. They're not.
And Fran's just in Hannah's face, like, I'm trying to talk to you. It's like, you're not even here right now. It's like, can anybody earth to Hannah?
Yeah, I was like, dude, do you not just see what just happened? Like, he seems like he's completely aware that Adam and Jessa are hooking up. Like,
yeah.
Wouldn't that be a shock to him too?
It seems like he's known it for years. Like, he's like, don't you know that already? Like, is this a shock anymore?
Yeah. Oh, you're not going to say, good job, Adam, after being at his play? Like, you're not even going to say that?
So then he like touches Hannah's shoulder to be like, hey, snap out of it. And she slaps his hand away. And he's like, what the hell? And she's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Let's just spend the rest. I'm sorry. I don't take it. I take it all back. Let's just have a nice night together. And he's like, are you sure you don't want to be alone? She's like, no, I don't want to be alone. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is sad as fuck.
Well, I did think that Hannah's acting in that moment when they're walking away and she's starting to tear up and trying to hold back from having a full breakdown, I thought it was really well done. Because I felt...
No, dude, because she killed it this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, if she
but
doesn't...
also, like, a terrible person.
Right? Like, if you take that opening scene out, or, like, something different happens in it, like, if she say she got fired for just the basic stuff that they were talking about, like her making fun of teachers and stuff, and she got put on probation or fired or something. If that happens, and then she meets up with Fran, and Fran's like, well, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing, then we're on her side a little bit. Like, she shouldn't be doing what she's doing, but it does suck that she got like fired or put on probation or whatever. Yeah. And then to top it all off, you have the Adam and the Jessa thing. Then you're like, oh, I do really feel bad for this person.
Yeah.
And I do feel bad for her in this moment, but like, she was just so, like, she was rude to the actors, bad to her boss, who's nicer. Like, she was just all negative the whole time, and then it just, another negative happened, so it made it tough.
Also, why is she still with, like, I feel like 5 episodes she was like, I'm gonna break up with Fran.
Yeah, I didn't get, like, she was gonna break up with Fran, and then she had the experience with, she had sex with the yoga instructor.
Yeah, in the sauna.
Yeah, she had sex with the yoga instructor, and then she said, "Oh no, my parents really did mess me up."
Yeah.
And then the next thing we saw was her at in bed with Fran when Marnie comes in.
After the panic in Central Park.
So we never seen a reconciliation of anything from them. It's just like, oh, now every time we see them, they're either fighting or talking about fighting or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's just one of those relationships where everybody keeps trying to break up and then nobody actually does it. You know, I've been in relationships.
Well, I feel like that's the Desi Marnie situation. I thought that was going to be Desi Marnie for a little longer, and I thought that was going to be Adam and Hannah for as long as it seemingly was. But it seems like they pulled the ripcord too early on the Fran relationship being downhill before, like, you still got a couple more episodes left. You know, like, like you got to start at the downfall at 5. You know, he started like episode 2. He was already 2 or 3. He was already like in the doghouse.
Yeah, and we also like skipped ahead those 6 months, so we don't even know like what kind of person he was then.
Yeah, but those 6 months seemed like everything was great.
Yeah.
I mean, from what we could tell.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you live with Elijah. When Elijah's
just
your roommate,
like K-holes.
He just throws a wedge in your relationship.
Yeah, you just fucking lose track of time and relationships, and you're just like, wait, what? You wake up one day and you're like, I'm still dating Fran. It's been 5 years.
And Fran's like, well, I'm dating Hannah. Our roommate is Elijah, who's hooking up with this semi-celebrity news anchor, and sometimes Marnie will just hop into bed with us in the middle of the night.
Yeah, she's still got a key, I guess, and it's totally cool. It doesn't frighten me at all.
Oh, man.
So that's where Hello Kitty ends. That's where the episode ends. Final thoughts on this bad boy, Vance?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what happened with the Jessa, Adam, Hannah love triangle type situation. Not a full love triangle anymore, but I'm just interested to see what happens there.
I'm interested to see what happens with Marnie. Maybe she learns from something. Maybe Ray's back in the fold. Who knows? And we all know that we are big fans of Ray on this show. Mm-hmm. We used to be big fans of who was it that sucks now? We used to be big fans of Fran, but now he kind of sucks.
I mean, I feel like they're just writing him in the corner.
Yeah. But maybe we'll get some answers in the next episode, the 50th episode of Girls, which is titled Homeward Bound.
Oh, Shoshana's
Who's going
coming
home?
Shoshana's coming home.
Oh, Shoshana's coming home.
I'm going to stick to that prediction until we find out it's them literally watching Homeward Bound, the movie.
Yeah, or they play Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel like once in the episode for no reason.
Oh, I was talking about the Michael J. Fox movie where.
No, I know what you're talking about with their dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, dude. This show is wild, but we're gonna hope that it's Shoshana coming home because we need an injection of Shoshana.
And all the gamblers got 4-1 odds on it being Shoshana coming home.
And who knows? Does Dill show up again and cement the over for the 3.5?
It would be amazing if somehow he doesn't show up again.
Yeah, and then we win. We take home the pot.
Yeah.
We beat the house, Vance. We are the house, and we are the betters.
I don't know. I have it in a parlay with Adam hooking up with Marnie, so I don't know if I can.
Oh, man. It's going to be rough. I don't know if you're going to be able to cash in.
Hey, she didn't go with Ray in this episode, so.
Well, I've got a parlay of Marnie getting HIV and Elijah getting murdered, so this is going to go.
Oh, man.
So anyway, yeah, come back next time for our episode on episode 50 of Girls, titled Homeward Bound. See you guys.
You described Mr. Kildall as having, quote, phantom centaur butt? Which I'm guessing is your idea of a humorous remark?
I mean, it's jokey, but what it really is when a guy has an ass that like really sticks out to the point where it seems like a whole horse has been cut off him.